Ready.
Cut.
Cut.
Okay. Cut again.
Cut again.
Well, that's the
That's
funny
the-
part, you know. Okay. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Soulfiller podcast. My guest is already known. If you have seen or listened to the episode about the saddle board, that's an expert, Irina. And we also have another episode about motherhood and how we learn from our children, like even more than they learn from us in a spiritual way. And today we have a great topic and a very needed topic. We will talk about femininity, like about feminine energy, about the way we experience it. But let's start with where that feminine energy or that feminine source is coming. What do you think?
Thank you for being like a part of this talk. I really appreciate to be invited again. And yeah, I think we have like a lot to talk always, you know, there's something that I think it's endless conversation, you and me.
I wish I have camera every time I meet you.
We could record like
because
forever.
they are so spicy, so valuable things we talk
See,
about, and
it's
you
true.
are amazing. Thank you for being here and for sharing again your
Welcome.
energy, your time, your wisdom, and your experience. And yeah, femininity.
So let's start. So I like to talk about like many things, but this is topic that I really enjoy talking. It's very delicate, I need to say. For me, it's very delicate because you very quickly can like, it's very sensitive, you know, something that we like, but it's something that is very needed to talk more and more and more. Because I realize that, yeah, we all are there and we all experience those things in daily basis. The difference is like we know how to name it or no, still we experience it. So
I love that.
It's important. Like it's important. Like you can give the name feminine energy, you can give the name creative energy, you can give the name Kundalini energy, whatever you would call it. It's still the same, you know. So for me, it was always like in my experience was something that I really was wondering about, because and the question like where it's coming from, so it basically comes within us. We already perfectly designed with that feminine and masculine energy coming together, you know, but I think the proportion of it's different in every single person. So it's the first thing that I realized with the time. I was like, well, but we are like not kind of exactly the same.
That's the beauty of it.
See, but it's very tricky then, you know. Then it's very tricky because like, oh, but I always felt like very masculine and feminine at the same time. But in my childhood, I was extremely masculine. I like it to play with the boys and do the boys things, you know. So the confusion actually starts there. And then I realized that with the time also, that like we experience life with other people, basically, you know, it's all related with others. And I realized like, yeah, my relationship with my mother, and this is the first relationship with feminine energy. It's your mother, actually. She represents you, all that. And she shows you how to nourish and how to deal with it, you know, and how to play with it in life.
From
Like very childhood,
from the beginning,
from the pure beginning,
from
actually,
the small
you know?
egg cell, and
See.
right.
So it's very interesting. Like it's it's interesting to explore, but also to experience in your daily basis. And wow, and at some point, I really realized that my experience, the first feminine experience, so an example of it, was very actually distortion of it, you know. I had like, yeah, a lot of questions raising up, and I never was given the answers or the right answer or the ones that maybe would guide me better. So I had a lot of confusion. What is the feminine actually?
So you
know?
figure it out by yourself.
By myself at the time, and like going through very tough experiences and like, yeah, trying to dig into deep, because I like the deepness, you know, but I think most of us, we have a lot of confusion about it. Because we also mess up with it. Okay, the feminine is always sexualized somehow. For me, the feminine, it's at the beginning has nothing to do with the sexual energy. It has to do with the sexual energy, but it's more sensual. It has so many shadows and layers that it could be like endless. You can apply everywhere and you can see it everywhere.
It's about the creation too. Yeah.
See,
Yeah. So the first like experience we have is with our mother, like from the wound, still being a baby. Then all the experience we collect through the way to adulthood.
especially with the women's.
For the woman, okay,
I
like
realized
every
that
woman, we connect to.
I believe that we kind of build it on. So I realize also with the time that depends on with what kind of woman you related later. It will give you the power of, or like it will increase your feminine energy, or it will decrease your feminine energy. And then, of course, how you relate with the masculine energy, it will increase, or it will balance, or it will kick you out of the balance also.
Absolutely, absolutely agree. And also that role models we have, I believe there are two ways when we have, the first example and the first role model, of course, is our mother. And then we learn something from the way she is, the way she behaves, and then we have to choose, subconsciously, I guess, or I believe it's happened like this. We can decide to go that way too, or not decide, but it just automatically happens, and we became like this, or we have such a resistance and we're like, no, I'm doing like something completely different. Like, it's also about how femininity or feminine energy was expressed by the mother, right? And so we try to express it otherwise, and sometimes we go completely into the masculine, or when the mother figure is like too masculine, it's another judgment, but you know what I mean. It's like,
but it's
don't
real.
express
It's real.
the femininity. Then we also have those two chances to go with the masculine, because that's the only thing we know, like the way it was, and or to completely resist it and say, no way, I'm going to do something else. It's like, they have those examples with the alcoholics, when the father is an alcoholic, and then the two sons, one of them is like going to completely different paths, no alcohol at all, and the other one is going to that alcohol part. So it's always that subconscious mind that, or decisions that make the change. And I believe that we can switch. What do you think?
I believe that we came here to work on us. Basically, it's like the main mission.
Yeah.
And it's like to co-create, but it's everything that we co-create is coming back to ourselves, and it's coming like again, like goes and backs, goes and back, So yes, I do believe that we need to work constantly in that. Like, it's a work to do, and sometimes we create a lot of resistance. Like, if it's hard and if it's tough, I'm like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
But I think that right now our society, it's not easy sometimes, because we are very overstimulated and we have too many things happening. So for us, it's very difficult sometimes to dig into what we feel, and like to really sit on what we feel and say, like, do I like my energy? Do I like how I behave today? Do I like how I relate to the woman? For me, this question was like for many years on and on, like, do I like how I relate to the woman? Why we have so much competition? Why we hate each other? Why we talk badly about each other? Like, maybe I was not doing it, but I saw around me all the time that happening, and I was like, what is wrong here?
But that's a very important sign to sign to see, okay, why is she triggering me? What is the mirror, what is that I don't accept in myself, or what I have to work on,
but I think we have, like, right now we have a lot of distortion about that. And even if there's a lot of information, we still misunderstand in the daily basics what feminine means, So for me, the feminine first is tribe. Second is the sisterhood. Like, I'm here for you.
Yeah.
It's not only what I nourish in my family and what I will show to my son or to my husband or to whatever, like any family members. It's also, it's very tribey thing, you know. It's like, and we lack of the tribe in this society. We are very disconnected. We are not, like, if I think about the feminine, for me, the first thing, the first image that comes to me is like that tribey woman sitting on the ground, like calm, like very relaxed, very like soft, gentle, you know, like loving eyes, smile in the face. It's what the first thing that comes to me when I think about the feminine. And then I imagine always another woman's around. So like it's holding the space for another woman. And like seeing we're here together and we're the same. We made from the same matter. So this is for me is what is feminine. And then it goes like to motherhood, and then it goes to like sisterhood, but sisterhood is the first. Then it goes to the motherhood, and then when it's become like extremely expanded, and it's even like bigger and bigger and bigger. But you know, but this simple nourishment in the daily basics for me, it's like the first thing that it's the first thing that we need to go back to. It's an invitation for me. Every single woman that I treat in my daily basis, it's my sister, it's my mother, it's me.
I completely agree. I love it, and I still also believe that we are all one. So if you're feeling good, if everything is okay, so it's for me too. You know, like the way I expect, and other way around. If something's like not so good, then we are all connected. So it's the same. And yeah, unfortunately, not always it's like so clear. And also about the competition, I also believe that is also that masculine part who try, or I don't know if it's actually the masculine part or it's that like shadow of femininity, you know, where we try to compete to be better, you know, than one another. And well, that's
It's a kind of ego fight. I feel it's an ego fight. Sometimes it's necessary because also like being woman sometimes or being feminine, we always relate to being like weak and being not strong. And you know, there's like that misunderstood. Okay, so if I'm weak, then I'm not strong, and then I'm like, but I want to be strong woman. But it's like there's a lot of like conflict happening actually.
Yeah, but the strength is in this to allow ourselves to be soft. And I mean, weak is of course not like seen so positively, but still there.
But it's very feminine. Weak and like needy of help. It's very feminine.
Yeah,
and once you really, if you embody that feminine energy, like really embodying this feminine, it's coming naturally through you.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and it's not only about, like I tell you, it's not only about what we do with the men, because most of the time you say feminine. Okay, where's the man around, you know? And it's another topic that we need to undo.
Yeah.
It's like, no, feminine doesn't mean that needs to be men. Men's are like masculine. They have that masculine. We need each other. See, of course they did. But I think before we need to nourish that feminine in between the feminine. And when it's very beautiful and when it's blossoming, naturally, then it has nice relationship with the men too, you know?
Of course, of course.
But if you're not nourishing your own feminine, your own sensuality, your own creativity, your own endless source of being happy around whatever comes, you know, then you will have a lot of difficulties relating with the men actually.
Or for everyone. So the man is the same. I mean, for every person, it's like, yeah, you have to cultivate it inside. So how the feminine energy is like influencing different life fields, let's say privately, work fields, also relationships with men, and also with other women, like friendships or even romantic relationships. I mean, with men and with women, it depends who what prefers. But
for me, it's sometimes it's very difficult because I know how I experience through myself, and it's like my base. But then I see what is happening around also in my work. Well, if we see in my work, it's very easy because it's very like repeat it and structure it, I call it, so it's very easy for me to see. I know how I relate to people, so I have very neutral approach to the people. And for me, the neutral, it's real feminine, actually.
Yeah.
It's where like I neutralize, even if it's like you're the man or woman, for me you are the feminine and masculine together.
Wow.
So when I see it like this, it's very easy because you're not messing up
So
anymore.
no judging at all. Okay.
No.
How do you manage this?
Years of experiencing,
Yeah.
I think. It's the years of experience, but for me, radical change came when I became a mother.
Yeah.
And I saw that neutral being coming to my life, and I was like, we don't need a division. We are like one, actually. And I start to relate myself more through that, like, kind of mother approach to the people. So, in some point, it gets a bit like tricky, yeah, because I start to see little childs in every single human being walking in the street. It was a bit like, when we have those experiences, we're like, I don't know what is happening. Maybe I'm getting crazy or things like this, because it's a very
You're
deep
awakening.
experience. You're awakening, basically. It's what is happening. And you see reality, how this, not only because you are processing through yourself, but it's what it is. You see a lot of layers. You see everything very deep down,
Yeah.
So I remember seeing like, it was like at the first maybe 6 months of my Luca, So we're very connected to that pure and neutral energy, And I start to see adults like babies, and I start to see them wounds and them like the ways how they were treated.
Wow.
In the bigger scale. So because they are adults, so they magnify that like lack of care, lack of hugs, lack of crying, lack of attention. Like it's very strong. It's very strong, but we bring that into our adult life without realizing most of the time. So when I dig into that moment, I was like, oh my God, everyone just needs a hug, love, cry. It became very basic, but like very basic. And I was like, oh my God, what's this? But it's how it is, because I start to see in every single person the same thing, And I was like, okay, this is the energy. And somehow I have that ability I'm capable to not only to see it, but embrace it.
Wow.
I have that mother hug
can
energy
create
that I'm
that
like, come here. I know who you are. I see your real you. And the other thing, it's something that you constructed and able to survive. And in order to survive, that gives you ability to survive. But with me, you don't need to. So it's how I learned through experiencing. And because like the motherhood opened that like huge field in you, it's like it's openness that happened, So I became I felt in some moment the mother of everyone. I was capable to see everyone, like little kids and babies. And I was like, you need a hug? Come, I will give it to you. I was capable to give it more than ever.
I love that.
And and then in my work, I started to shift completely different. I was like, before I would say always that I like much more to work with a woman.
Okay, wow.
And then I realized like, well, it's no different if it's woman or man, actually, It's like you embrace the same energy, And for my work, I need to be neutral. Most of us, we need to also.
Yeah.
Because it's much more easy then,
And it's fair.
See.
Yeah.
And it's fun then.
Yes.
Since you don't relate with the world like from that, okay, I'm feminine, so this is the masculine, and you stop fighting. And once you stop fighting, everything becomes easy. And it's what we lack and we want. All of us, we want to be seen, loved, embraced,
accepted,
heard, accepted. Like there's so many things that we lack still. We're adults, and most of the time we don't know how to ask for.
Yeah.
And this is also something that comes to me naturally. I see what people need. I'm like, I can give it to you, Dad.
Well, people are also afraid to ask for,
because we
They're
didn't.
not used to.
Because our mothers, actually, the biggest mother mission is like to show how to like navigate in life, And the father's mission is to show how to be strong and how to communicate and how to go outside. The mother world is always inside, and the feminine for me it's in inner world, and the masculine is like all the outside field. So it's like at some point like the mother is the first figure, the father is the second one, that brings you outside and say, I will show you the world. I will be your
Yeah.
guide here, you know.
Yes.
And the mother will be the emotional one. It's like, look, this is who you are. This is how you could use the tools that you are given, you know. So it's very easy, but at the same time, it's becoming very difficult.
Yeah, definitely. What about emotions and feminine energy? Because men also need feminine energy, right? Or what's need is like not the right word, but can play with it, and it could be beneficial for spiritual, personal, business path, for everything about the creativity, and so and how the emotions are connected to that feminine energy.
Well, it's we going back to the basics, you know. It's like if your mother was not mature emotionally, you will struggle a lot because we copy paste, you know. This is the best and the best because we're the quickest learners because we copy paste all the time. So we do what we see and we repeat it automatically, you know. But this is the bad thing also at the same time because if your first experiences are like not the beautiful one or the good one and or the stable one, you know. So emotionally you create a lot of distortion.
Yeah.
So those patterns stay with you forever. So I think it's very important to understand that and to like in some point of your life to ask yourself like if I'm myself or I'm creating like I'm acting outside through my emotions because they are connected with how I relate to my mother or my father also if there's like no lack of the mother, you know. So what's happening then we are like constantly repeating those emotions one more and one more time, so we create that like circle of behaving. Why? Because all our experiences are like are actually clicked to the emotions, you know. It's how we learn. So it's very tricky and very difficult to understand like so do I feel what I feel or those emotions are coming because
that's the thing.
I learn.
That's the thing. The science said that we only need 90 seconds to experience some emotion, like once, and then we can let it go and release. But what happened, we don't want, especially negative emotions, of course, we don't want to experience them. So we don't give ourselves the permission to feel it for 90 seconds. And then our mind is creating a loop. And every time we re-experience it, like when something happened, when something's familiar, you know, and the yogi said it's samskara, but yeah, you know, it's just this repressed emotions inside. And also the femininity or the feminine part was or maybe the wounded femininity was seen as weakness, and what is the most like the weakest thing or the worst thing you can do and look like or that weakness is experienced like you know, too much emotions, or does it make sense, you know?
But that is what
when
we
you
relate
experience
to
emotions, you're weak.
See, but that is what we relate to feminine and it's like very judged actually in our society. And I remember that the exact moment when I shift that, when I realized that most of my clients will be women, you know, in that moment. And we're hysterical, we do crazy things, we really like we are messing up a lot. But I was like, isn't it beautiful that we're like, isn't it beautiful to embrace that messiness and that now I'm here, now I have my period, I'm out of my emotions. So it's good to be responsible for your emotions and like do not drag them and like push them and pull them everywhere. It's nice to understand and to have a tools to regulate your nervous system and that to be like more aware of
Let's
your
talk
nervous
about the
system
tools.
and then your emotions, you know. So you're not spreading them everywhere.
That's the thing.
But at the same time embrace that like hysterical and that very unstable woman energy because it's what it is. Because it's what we are like this, you know. And the moment when I was like, this is beautiful. We are hysterical. This is beautiful. We can shout, and after that, we can be nice, and then we can do this and that. And I was like, oh my God, it's so fun. It's so powerful. It's so powerful, And seeing in me, and then being able to see in other women and accept that we heal together.
Yes, yeah, and to
This is
allow
how we
ourselves to be
heal,
like this,
And this is how we become stronger like a woman then. And it's not that like strong power muscles, No, we become like more wise and yeah, we manage better like ourselves, It's a tool.
It's a tool, and also other tools to release emotions like sadhu boards. I mean, that's a huge, and it's really intense and very effective.
You want to talk about that a little bit?
Of course, and the breath work, like for me, also meditation, but they're very, very important tools. Like
because they help us to balance. What is the most important thing?
Yes, and because no one like taught us how to deal with those emotions, And now we are adults, and there's so much like going on, and then we need those tools to get back to get back to the balance. And I mean, saddleboard is amazing, like from everything, from the physical part, from the blood circulation, from the spiritual part, from everything. So
I want to talk about something very interesting, like in the feminine and masculine.
Yeah.
What I saw like in those practices that
really
we approach very differently, like the practice. If you're a man or if you're a woman.
Tell me more about this.
So this is very interesting. The woman approach the practice like, I want to try and I will embrace it, but they are like very into it. The men, they are very into it, but from their mind. So they're like, yes, I'm strong, I can do it, And then what's happening in the practice is completely the opposite of what you see in the beginning. So it's amazing also to see how feminine and masculine actually, they're constantly balancing, because when the woman goes on the saddle board, or when the woman goes into the challenge, or they need to like kind of to go through something hard, they surrender much more better, and they have more mental strength to do it.
Well,
they are better. We are better designed in that.
We are designed for that, to give a birth. I mean, that's why.
But this is so interesting to see. And then when the man goes on the saddle board, like, I'm strong, I can do it, and they're like, they fall apart because emotionally they are not able to let go.
And they don't allow
easily.
themselves to do it.
They were like, for so many years, they were like not allowed to express emotion. So it's amazing. And this is where we need the balance, actually, It's where we need to like play with it, to say like, yeah, we're both feminine and masculine, but I can do with that. So sometimes we need to nourish one, and sometimes in some situation you need to bring your masculine and say like, no, setting boundaries for me, it's very like, no, it's very masculine.
And in business too.
See? Yeah. And then, but when you say yes, and it's that gentle yes, it's very feminine for me.
Yeah.
It's very related to the feminine.
Like receiving.
See, like receiving, or like giving also. It's we are constantly like masculine, feminine, masculine, more feminine. It's a game, And I think the women's, we have better ability to play with it,
Yeah.
We are here to play,
Yeah, I definitely agree with this. We're here to play, remember?
We're here to play.
Yeah, I know that's a more fun part, and we're taking everything so seriously. Seriously, like we will stay here forever,
We will not.
Exactly. So
we will not.
Yeah.
And also, this is like the beauty of life. The beauty of life, like, I might be not here tomorrow, If I'm not here tomorrow, what I should do today.
Yeah.
Like how I want to relate to the world, how I want to relate to other women, how I want to relate to the men. I think for all of us, it's very important to ask right question in the right moment, They arrive in the right moment, but just like you need to give the real answer. And then suddenly everything also might change and shift in the good way.
Yeah, definitely. And that with the questions is a very important point, because we are so in that autopilot sometimes that we don't even realize, And sometimes it's enough to just hold on for a second and to just like how I'm feeling right now. Oh, what's happening, inside, because we have so many distractions. so much going on around us that sometimes it's like, consumption, relationships, the whole physical part is also for fun, but also very distracting. And it's enough to just like connect for a second, say, okay, what's happening? What I'm experiencing right now? Is it like, joy? Is it sadness? It whatever it is, and just embrace it. Don't
See, and
without
don't-
judging it.
Yeah, I think judgment is something that also we need to work a lot on it, because there's a lot of relationship that fails or doesn't work actually because we judge a lot each other.
Yeah.
And it's also very related with the feminine and masculine energy, because the real feminine, it's embracing, it's not judging at all. Anyone, neither woman or man,
Yeah.
So it's the biggest power for me also of the feminine energy. It's a way I feel it very strong. It's like, do I am judging someone because of like some action or the way how they look? Like there's so many layers of it, or I'm just embracing how they are, and this is something that we need like to practice a lot. And you say like to being on the service, it's another huge quality of feminine, it's like, I'm here, what do you need? Like, can I help you? Can I give you like whatever you need right now in that like tiny second?
But not overgiving, boundaries are very important there because it could be exhausting. And
well, this is another thing that I think the woman, we have that unlimited capacity of giving, and there might be like also some tricky things coming.
I think the important thing is to give to ourselves too, because sometimes we just forget we're giving, giving, and we don't give enough to ourselves.
Okay, so I want to ask you a question. Where do you think that like we should, or how we should detect that something is like you are not nourishing enough your feminine? Where do you think that is the lack starts to come, like?
Well, the nervous system reacts immediately because you feel like you're out of balance. You get triggered, irritated, and you begin to judge like negatively what happens, other people, yourself. So when these negative, for me personally, and for many of my clients too, when this negative talk is there, and when you are like, everything is irritating, you're just not present, there is a sign that something is happening, and then it's the moment when you reconnect and explore what is the problem. And being for myself also personally, I've been through that too much in my masculine for a long time, and you can manage it for some time, but it's super exhausting. And then like doing, providing, performing more and more and more, and then at some point you need to recharge. And even physically, if you manage to train and coach your mind and your spirit to go on to move, at some point the body is exhausted, it just stops and it takes that pause or that break you need. And that's sort of the signs for me: exhaustion and trigger.
So you would say that also the feminine energy is something that is sit within and like just
it's being. That's feminine, and the action doing is more masculine. We need both.
It is. I relate to that a lot also.
Sure.
So like when I'm over making, I'm like, oof, go back and sit quiet and nourish yourself through like,
How do you nourish? Oh, that's a big thing. How feminine practices here. How do you nourish your feminine part?
Wow, this is like, for me, it's so many beautiful ways to do so.
Yeah.
But first, for me, it's like going inward, isolating myself. It's one of the practice that I do a lot. So this is when you really can, like in the silence, or through the maybe music, you can really deep dive into yourself, and you create a conversation with yourself actually.
Yeah.
And you really like kind of ask yourself, and you feel the feelings that you have. So for me, the first practice is going inwards, isolation. The second one would be through the like food, and like listening to your own body, what you need,
Okay.
and
Oh,
like
that's great.
very like specific day moments. It's like this is for me. It's very feminine actually, like knowing exactly what you feel and what you want,
Like nourishing.
nourishing,
Literally nourishing.
literally nourishing your body, and
Okay.
saying no maybe to some food in that day. Or this is for me. It's like feminine intelligence actually.
Yeah.
To being very in tune to your own body. It's very feminine for me.
Yeah.
Extremely feminine. And the food is one of the most important thing actually, how we give the energy to ourselves actually. It's not only the emotions or the inputs that we get from outside, but the food is one of the
So you're just
most,
asking yourself what I need right now,
yes.
and
So
you follow that.
I following your needs. For me, it's very feminine,
Yeah.
extremely feminine. It's like, do I want an apple, or do I want like egg and bacon and bread and this kind of thing? So yeah, this is for sure the one of the most important one. And then
Well, that's the intuition, and that's all that intuitive eating is coming. It's also for me a connection with the feminine,
See.
with that intuition, and just trusting it, hearing it.
See.
You know,
this is
and you
for me
listen
it's
to it.
also like one of the main thing. Like if I think about the feminine, it's intuition, but it's intuition 100% on. And this is the most difficult work to do, I think. Like to be 100% clear with yourself, and you are like, I don't want to meet that person. I'm like, I'm saying no, and but then you are like, oh, but maybe I should pleasing someone, or like, or giving your time to the wrong people. For me, it's something that you need to be very aware of it, because it's also it's this feminine intuition saying to you like no, and you're still acting like yes. Wow, you will lack energy. You will hurt yourself.
For me, is that I experience like that's my masculine part want to protect me and say, you gave enough. Now it's time to get back and just protect me and not allow me to like.
Another topic, also another thing that I see in a lot of women, not only with me, but I see in a lot of women asking for help.
Oh, that's huge.
When I detect that someone is not in them feminine, the first or the biggest thing that they do, they say, I cannot ask for help. And I have been there for like, I have been there, but why I can see it so easily, because I have been there for ages. And in some specific situation, I break out my arm.
Wow.
And I always, when I see someone with problems with arms, I say like, is it the first question that I ask, because I ask many questions to people. So one is like, is it easy for you to ask help? And most of the women, especially women, they're like, I never do that.
Never do that. Yeah.
So for me, you have a lot of distortion with your feminine and masculine energy, and you're messing up a lot, because you're like, I'm strong woman. We like to say a lot the last years, we're like, I'm strong woman. I am so powerful. I can do everything by myself. Well, yes, we can, but it's not that what we most need. Because what we most need, like, we are women, we are fragile, we're soft, we're gentle, So we need help. And in that specific moment of me, I was like, I can ask help. And especially I couldn't ask help from the man. So I was like, Irina, what is wrong here,
That for me is, especially when I'm coaching like women and they want to go in that feminine, that is the first exercise, and they're like, no, you don't have to ask him to, I don't know, buy you something or something huge. It's enough to just like, yeah, can you hold that for a second or two? And they're like, no, I'm not asking. Like simple things, can you
but
like?
It's so extreme right now,
Yeah.
It's like,
but it shifts when they do it. They're like, oh, it works,
See, it's like, of course it works, because you are there.
But that resistance for someone to like, yeah, can you give me this, or can you like reach me that, or really simple things. Can you do this video for me like for 20 seconds? And they're like, oh, how should I ask? I have a.
But you see a lot of also distortion in the society. Like we still like they're like asking and questioning like, so should the man open the door? Should the man? It's not the man or woman for me. It's like, it's that neutral being that it's able to see it not like masculine or feminine, but just like the human being that helping to each other, And through that neutral, I nourish your feminine actually, because I treat my friends the same if they are woman or man, then in the relationship I kind of split a little bit and I change a little bit. My base is the same. So I treat my
really?
friends like I would be, sometimes I treat my friends like I would be the man,
Okay.
and I show them how they could be better treated. So I see a lot of friends of mine like get, or people that doesn't know me very well, they're like, are you opening the door? Are you inviting me like to the coffee? Are you like
Okay.
helping me without nothing in exchange, you know?
Yeah.
And it's so crazy how women get triggered with that so deeply, so deep. It's crazy. They're like, I never received that treat. And I'm like, oh, do you think that is wrong? Like, it's, you get triggered because you never receive it. But once you receive it, and there's nothing to give it back, actually, when it's so
Yeah.
neutral, you're like, oh my God, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. This is what I want. This is the way how I want to treat it, you know?
Yeah.
And there's something also very amazing in the way how we look to each other, the way how we look to each other's eyes. Sometimes it's not only the attitude, but sometimes it's the way how we look to each other. And I'm like, I'm here for you.
That's the thing.
This is the biggest thing ever, you know?
Yeah.
I'm seeing you, you know?
Yeah.
I know that you need help, even if you are like resisting for
Yeah.
it, you know? I'm here. Like, this is for me the biggest power of human being, you know?
Oh, the receiving part is it's another topic. It's so huge because yeah, on the one side we don't want to show that weakness, you know, and we can also be strong and do it. And the other side is that we don't feel that we deserve it.
But the feeling of that we didn't deserve it is because when we are a child, we were not shown and we were not given that
course.
attention. Because, you know, it's very easy for us if you was giving that, I call kind of basic tools,
Yeah.
love, affection, being seen, being heard, being like hold when you need it, being like if you're crying, you know, and you're out of your balance, you know, and if you're a child and your mother will hug you, that will create completely different story in your brain and in your nervous system, you know.
Sure, but that's why we are here. To not experience those things so we can grow and we can go through it.
But you know, that is the problem right now, actually, in this modern world, that we don't have enough people to show us that kind of different story, you know. Because we only relate, okay, if my mother didn't give me that, so now we'll ask for that, but sometimes I will reject extremely, you know. These are two polarities, and this is the masculine and feminine also coming together, you know. So you will be like, I know that I like love, but I will reject completely because that was never given. So I believe that no one can give me that, no one can nourish me, no one. So I think that I give that to myself, but actually, if I reject that coming from outside, it means that I lack that inside.
Absolutely.
You know? So when someone is giving to you help, you're like, no, I don't need that. All of us, we need that. It's so human, you know? It's not because you're a woman or man. You know, because then we switch and you think the men's, they don't need that being seen, heard, loved, being embraced, crying, you know, all of us, we need the same thing, you know. But only masculine men, I say, it's able also to recognize that, you know.
What is masculine man? Is that, what about the percentage? I mean, that's a very interesting topic too. And do you believe that it's possible to 50-50 be in the feminine and the masculine for every individual? Now for men and for women, you know.
But I will say no one will like it, I know.
Yeah, tell me.
I think it's absolutely wrong. I have been in a long relationship with that 50-50 mentality. I end up exhausted. I end up
Agree.
completely exhausted, depressed, many things, yeah. I face many dark things because of that 50-50. I think it's wrong. Yes. I definitely think that is wrong. I see outside that is wrong because men's have different kind of abilities and capacity, you know, and we design differently. I'm sorry about that, but I'm not sorry about it. It's our reality. we came differently. That's why it's a feminine and masculine. We are different. We need
Absolutely.
to embrace and recognize that we are different. We have that different energies, and we don't want to realize. We don't want to embrace actually them. We don't want to. But yes, I think that 50-50, it's wrong. I think the masculine, they have different kind of abilities, and they are capable to hold more, they are physically stronger. Their emotional maybe less developed, but then they have like some, I will dig into few very like little things, like the masculine. They're able to like not over analyze and not over emotionalize the things, and it's a very good quality for men. It's very masculine. So woman, it's in simple daily basics. Woman will be she told me that, and you told me this, and then and man is like, I don't remember none of that, because like they are already in the different kind of chapter, and this is so basic. And then we like get freaked out about that. And it's like, well, men, they're not overanalyze it so much. And it's something that we need in our life. We need to sit with the man and be like, and this thing is happening, she told me that, and men are like, okay, I'm hearing you. But they will not go into that for longer, So it's so powerful. It's so, wow, it's a power, So this is the balance. Where the balance comes is when we have both of those energy.
Yes.
But I don't ask for men the feminine energy, for talking about that shitty things and like to over analyzing. I choose a woman. I don't choose the man. I choose the woman.
Okay.
Because we are capable and we need that. It's the way how we relate. Men, they relate very different. And men relate more to the physical activities or to the work, to mental activities. They are so good and being so focused and like reaching the goals, and the women's were sometimes like, yeah, also I'm into the business, I'm reaching the goal and I want to do it. But then I tell you, we end up exhausted. And if you end up exhausted, there's something wrong happening, It's very easy to see that, it's something wrong happening. We need to see what is, where it's like the escape room, I say, where is the escaping room and what is escaping there, So you open the room and you're like, oh my God, I was not seeing all that. And now it's like on the top of you, And it's very beautiful, to find yourself in those moments.
Definitely. We can talk for hours about all those things. And I know you're busy. Thank you so much for your time. One last question. Let's go a little bit spicy.
You like spicy, I like spicy. Let's go there.
I mean, I prefer sweet, but sometimes
in the end of the sweet, we like the spicy.
Yeah. Okay. Who should pay the bill? Men and women first date?
Men.
Yes, thank you for being honest.
Sorry, man, but it's a man. It's a man. Always is a man.
Yeah.
Always is a man.
See, I think, I try not to judge, and so, and there is no should anyway. Who should or who should not. But in the end, is paying the one with more masculine energy. Right? It could be the woman too. For some women, it's fine. They're happy with being with it. But the polarity is coming also. Like,
you know what? The women sometimes they get offended, and I'm like, because we reject.
It's about the receiving again.
But that's what this is. We reject the receiving because we're not in our complete feminine. So you will reject like, oh, he's like buying my time, or he's like he thinks he's showing that he's stronger, or like he's getting more money, But I'm like, why we're fighting with that?
Well, but men too, they can also get offended because they feel used, like,
see,
why should I, and
but those fights, I tell you, for me, it's already like old school, For me, it's old school. If you are still there, like you need to work on it. It's an invitation to work on it. I no one is perfect, We come here to experience forever,
when you know what we say in Bulgaria, we say nobody's perfect until we fell in love with him.
Okay.
So
stay with
let me stay with it. Thank you so much for everything.
Beautiful
There will be
conversation.
many episodes with you. I
think
know it.
this one we can explore it even more. We didn't touch
Sure,
this sexual
sure,
part
sure.
and like
Oh yeah,
all
the
this
sexual parts.
energy.
That's
this
right.
is very feminine also.
Yeah,
But it's a huge topic. It's a huge
definitely.
topic.
Next time, sensuality and sexuality
See.
plus feminine energy.
Oof.
Thank you so much.